and welcome back to 305 Insights. I'm your host, Alan Somerton, and today we're reviewing the Miami Hurricanes versus the USF Bulls. Miami went up to Tampa and they demolished them. 50 to 15. Miami moves to 4-0 on the year, and there's a lot to like about this game. There are a few things to worry about, but we're going to dive into it and just see again, this team is on a pathway to a special season. And everything that you're seeing from them virtually everything that you're seeing from them so far is dictating that they will have a special season. So, first things first, Miami, through these 4 games, led by Cam Ward, they've scored a program record 209 points. They're averaging a little over 52 points a game. And again, they're led by Cam Ward at this point. He is the straw that stirs his drink. And 24 of 34 for 404 yards with 3 touchdowns and 1 interception, leading to this stat line of 89 for 123. That's almost a 73% completion for 1,439 yards, 14 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. That's Heisman contender, folks. He's going to be up there with the likes of Travis Hunter and whatnot, and whatever other players you can think of. But this is about as good of a start as you can hope for as a fan. And it's a mixture of some young guys. It's a mixture of some transfers, homegrown talent, and talent that's developed over time. You see, again, we talk repeatedly about how deep their rushing attack is. They ran for 180 yards total and 4 touchdowns. Jordan Lyle, who's a true freshman, a flip from Alabama. 6 carries, 104 yards with a touchdown, and a lot of that obviously came on that 91-yard run, which is the longest run in history. I believe Duke Johnson, and there was another individual who had a 90-yard run. This true freshman has the longest run in history. Cam Ward, 5 for 43. Damian Martinez, 11 for 31 with 3 touchdowns. He also had 50 yards in receptions, so he had 81 total yards of offense with 3 touchdowns. So, again, he hasn't looked as efficient as he has for the first few games. But 81 total yards and 3 touchdowns is nothing to sneeze at. And then you throw in a few carries for Jai Allen and Mark Fletcher. But, again, this is a deep, when your quarterback has that dual threat ability, it just creates so many more opportunities for your offense. I've told you multiple times this season, I think Isaiah Horton is going to have a breakout year. And he had 8 catches for 108 yards and a touchdown. Then you have Mr. Reliable, Xavier Restrepo, 6 for 99 with a touchdown. Samuel Brown, the transfer, had a pivotal 76-yard touchdown catch as they were trailing 15-14 with basically 2 minutes left in the half. Kind of, you never turn back from there because USF didn't score in the second half. And you scored 14 points in the third and fourth quarter each. So, second half shutout for this defense. And again, overall, there's we'll get to the bad in a second, but linebacker Kiko Maoga, 11 tackles, 1 sack, tackle for loss. Safety Mish Powell, 9 tackles, tackle for loss, and an interception. Simeon Barrow, 6 tackles, tackle for loss, and a sack. and he had a really good play in the game where he stopped the screenplay, and that really prevented a huge play, probably a touchdown, but for sure a massive chunk play that, again, could have given USF some momentum on offense that they didn't have. Safety Jaden Harris, 6 sacks, 6 tackles, 2 tackles for losses, and a sack. They had 2 QB hurries, 2 interceptions, 7 sacks, or 7 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, and just again, just a great, no sacks allowed by this offensive line. They only allowed 3 tackles for losses. Defense only allowed 1.9 yards per rush. So just again, great job on both sides of the ball. A few major concerns. The running game, it took a while to get going. Again, the final stat line of 188 looks good. But in the first half, you only had 21 yards on 10 carries. That's just with the talent that they have on this offensive line, the talent at running back, and Cam Ward as your quarterback, you should expect better. It does seem interesting, though, that a lot of these defenses seemingly stack the box, which may be the reason, maybe a big reason, actually, why Cam Ward has had such a successful season. And he's had the ability to kind of dice up defenses because they're playing so close to the line and you have those athletic tight ends and speedy wide receivers. But again, you still expect this offensive line to create more space for these running backs, to use their cutting ability, to use their power, use their speed to create bigger chunk plays on the running side of the ball and not wait till the second half for that to happen, or just, have more chunk plays in the first half just to establish that balance on offense. The really concerning part is the penalties. Was called for 11 penalties for 113 yards. You had 2 in the opener, 8 in game 1, or 8 in game 2, and 8 in game 3, and now 11 in this game. And you kind of did better in the second half because they had 8 penalties for 80 yards in the first half, and apparently Mario Cristobal said that at halftime, he said, stop the BS with the penalties, and they only had 3 penalties in the second half, so maybe that was a little better. But again, 11 for 113 is when you're facing tougher talent, when you're going to be facing someone in the ACC championship game or in the first round of the playoffs, like, you're not going to be able to get away with that type of undisciplined play. It's going to come back and bite you. It's going to put the defense in a bad position. It's going to put the offense behind the sticks. A lot of those things. So, again, overall, it was a really good game in the totality of things. You're keeping the ball rolling. You're beating another in-state school. It's a few you can check mark in terms of you beat Florida, Florida A&M, you've beaten USF. You're going to have Florida State on the horizon. So there's a lot of in-state domination that could be on the table for this team. And once again, that leads to positive recruiting. It's going to allow for this staff to really build up on this season. And that's what you hear me talk about that goes against this Florida State staff that I've been very vocal against. And I'm going to be beating this drum all season that Cristobal and company have had top-tier recruiting classes with a 5-win season and a 7-win season. Now, if the season becomes the season that everybody expects on paper, how many kids is Cristobal and company going to be able to flip with an ACC championship, with a college football playoff berth? There's a lot to be excited about on this current team, and there's a lot to be excited about with the future of this team. Because in year 3, you're starting to see some of the players that Mario recruited step up in a big way. You're starting to see the integration of the transfer portal stepping up in a big way. But the key is they are recruiting the high school level at a high level and supplementing it with bits and pieces here and there to plug in holes. And there's not a lot of holes with the way this staff is recruiting. So you basically get your pick of the litter in the transfer portal, and you also get to say, hey, look how we're performing over the past few years. We're climbing up. And it's concerning for other schools in this state. Again, Florida is in trouble with the Billy Napier situation. Mike Norvell and his coaching staff, there's going to be major shakeups at the end of the season. It's not often that you have 2 out of the 3 schools having such bad years. You've had a lot of mediocre years mixed in with sometimes all 3 of the schools, but it is a different level as to where, even when FSU had its run in the Jimbo era, UM wasn't terrible. Florida had its ups and downs, but they sprinkled in, double-digit win seasons and whatnot every once in a while. And Miami was a formidable opponent. They were consistently having 8, 9, 7 win seasons, stuff like that. They didn't bottom out like what's happening now at FSU in Florida. And this could be the game changer that is needed for the University of Miami to finally build a consistent winner that this fan base and perhaps a lot of the country or pundits have been hoping for the past, 22 years? 23 years? So it's been over 2 decades since Miami has built a consistent winner. Yes, they had that one season under Mark Richt, but again, where was the consistency after that? I think that's what the underlying psychology of the season is that there is this sense that something special is brewing, not just in the short term, but the long term as well. And it's been a lot of years within those 20 plus years of the U was back. But again, with the way the schedule plays out and with how this team looks with Cam Ward, they haven't had a quarterback this dynamic in a long, long time. And there's weapons surrounding him. And there's a coaching staff. There's an offensive coordinator that understands how to get these weapons in space. UM has always had the athletes to compete. It's just a matter of putting them in a position to succeed and having the right talent to complement the offensive scheme. Cam Ward is that talent. And again, you have the likes of Xavier Restrepo, who isn't going to blow you away with speed or crazy route running, but he's going to catch the ball on a consistent basis. You have the likes of, again, Isaiah Horton. He hasn't had the greatest start to the season so far, but you do have Jacoby George as well. And you have the tight ends that you can lean on. Elijah Arroyo stepping up. You have the transfer in Samuel Brown. Again, there's a nice balance of talent that can do different things in the moment. Isaiah Horton is your big stud wide receiver, 6'4", 205 pounds. Xavier Restrepo is that nice slot dump off guy that's just going to get you those tough catches and hard yards that you need for those third and short situations. Samuel Brown's a transfer who can again offer that sort of elevated type play at 6'2", 200 or 195 pounds. So, and now that you're starting to incorporate those tight ends, Elijah Arroyo, 6'4", 245 pounds, there's just a lot of talent that can come in. And again, you're seeing the young guys play. Elijah Lofton's a freshman, 6'3", 230. He's getting some plays in there. You've had JoJo Trader, Nye Carr, and some of these other kids, Ray Joseph, get some playing time as well. Sprinkle them in. It's a good time to be a Hurricanes fan right now. It was a tough few years with Cristobal trying to get his type of culture, his type of kids in the program. He had to get rid of some of those Manny Diaz kids, but for all intents and purposes right now, he's got all his fingerprints on this program in year 3. And again, a lot of that can be accredited to this team, this coaching staff, going all in on Cam Ward, not giving up on it, and we're seeing it pay off. That's it for this episode, folks. Thanks for listening. You know the drill. Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube. You can find us there. Like, subscribe, follow, get those notifications so you get notified. We're done there. That you get notified of these podcasts as soon as they're posted. So be on the lookout for the next one where we're probably going to take a dive into what caught our eye in this college football weekend. And once again, thanks for listening, folks. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll catch you next time here on 305 Insights. Have a good one, folks.